Okie dokie for the second. Okie dokie for the second time here today. Welcome to the Daytona International Speedway for Firecracker Week. This time around, we're here for the Coke Zero Showdown practice. So similar to the practice we just had for the Palm Summer League, this will be a 25-minute practice session, a little bit less than usual 30 minutes, but this time around we're going to have the biggest showdown field to date with 37 drivers making up the grid. And we have plenty of bigger, we have a lot of big names and everything. So this is gonna be amazing to see this many cars here at Daytona for the Coke Zero Showdown. So without further ado, much like before, let's get things started. So you see the 11 of Jack Haas already out on the track on his pit box, followed by Alex Mullen, Jordan Stout, Nick Sant. Stout's already off going. You can see Albert Mattiello and any others on pit road right now. Oh, so yeah, this is a rather loud sound pack. So yeah, if you have a hard time hearing me, I apologize in advance because this is a rather loud sound pack I found. I tried to get one that was closer to COT and also the Gen 6, so yeah. And also, like I mentioned in the stream, if I do mispronounce your name, I apologize in advance. But I've done my homework with these names, hoping I don't screw these up. There's Harold J. Alonso in the 52, Horn Dog in the 12, Daniel Rice in the 78, Trey Smith, who was, of course, the fastest during Firecracker practice in 31, 56, Bradley Ream, Jack Haas now out on the track. The 51 of Burnett. I have to lower my headphone volume. I was like, God, it's loud. 43. That's Ryan Wilson. 38. 38 car is Owen Miles. Those Angel to 79. To 15 Skylar Taylor. Stout is already doing some laps. Or Stout's already making his laps. There's the 93. I believe that's Voiles. Yeah, Daniel Voiles. Albert, Matthew Hill, Mattiello, and the 23 of Ross McTrain. Let's go on track, actually, instead of just looking at pit road. Shall we? So these cars are much faster than the PSO counterparts. So definitely expect to see some faster, like I said, definitely expect to see some faster lap times because of that. Even with my headphone volume, it's still kind of loud. Jeez. Oh, at least I'm not sure how loud it is for everyone else, but hey, Dylan. But I'm not sure how loud it is for everyone else, but for me, these headphones is loud. I couldn't really find any other COT sound packs, because I found this Gen 6 one. Anyways, Horn Dog now on top of the board with 47.945. We're gonna find the 12 car. It's all pretty much all by. Well, he's behind Alonso. Now, if you remember from. Actually, no, I don't have the other one. I don't have the other results up. I'm pretty sure this fast lap is, or that even though we're just 4 minutes into this session, these cars already, the fastest lap so far is already faster than the PSL. Which is going to show you how fast these Cup cars are. Not 79. The 9 of Noah Clifton for Petty, followed by Dylan Matthews in the 49. So Albert Voiles. As already mentioned, Keyshawn Richardson in the 24. As currently Trey Smith is on top of the board, much like last time, this time 47.206. That's Lipsy in the 2 car. Here's Wilson looking to the inside of Kellen Baker in the 21. While in front of these two is Random J in the 55 and Stapleton in the 42. There's the 48 of Philip Torres. Looking to the inside of the defending Showdown winner, Nathan Stapleton. Trying to get a second Showdown in a row. While the 33 of Roberto Crown is trying to not to get wrecked out this time. Is trying not to get wrecked out in the Showdown this time around. Of course, from our last year's Showdown, we had a massive wreck in turn number going into the quad oval or tri-oval, I should say. Trina Rose, and I believe, yeah, it was Rose and this, it was Rose and someone else, I believe, came back onto the track and collected basically the entire field. There's the 20 of Kyle Sustry, hope I pronounced that right. Side by side with Burnett. There's a 23 of Ross McTrain now on top of the board, 46.390. Jack Costin at the second fastest. As you currently see, he's in front of the 23 as Hodem goes 3 wide into turn number 188 car. There's the 27th Aaron Abel also in this mix as well, as Reem is currently the lead driver in this group. Now, even though everyone, of course, much like basically every motorsport competition ever, everyone has different manufacturers. These cars, there's not really much difference with these manufacturers. I mean, despite you see Dodge is working with Chevy's working with Fords. These bumpers walk because these cars essentially look the same. These bumpers walk very well together. So definitely see some aggressive drafting, not only in the race but also potentially in practice here as well. Here we got here's a group of cars here. That's Caleb Rose in the 95, Brendan Beal in the 14. While the other Bass Pro Shops car, Johnny Hernandez, is in the 1. Hopefully you won't get too confused by that, because they're both primarily black Bass Pro Shop cars, but they are different. As we're 3 wide into turns 3 and 4. There's the Alonso and Clifton coming down pit road trying to do some adjustments. Jose Angel also down here, Jordan Stout as well. While Horn Dog, who was fastest earlier, is down to 16th on the board. Anyways, as for the other drivers who are currently fastest in this top 3, Nathan Stapleton, Calvin Baker, Ryan Wilson, as that's going to say that. Matt Tielenow up to 5th on the board, followed by Baker, the 20. I forgot about the 22. We were trying to switch back and forth between 2 series. Patrick Miller in the 22. I apologize. The 43 of Wilson down to 8th. 8th and Orman down to 9th. And Random in the top 10. Rounds off the rest of the top 10. We'll take a look at some of the drivers below that. Crown 12. You see Crown also. Crown is his top 15, as well as Philip Torres. Lipsy running off the rest of the top 15. Followed by Aaron Abel, Dylan Matthews, Horn Dog, Noah Clifton, and Matthew Hill. Now Matthew Hill this is the first time Matthew Hill's made a start in a Random J Series race, or in a Random J Channel race, since GSS finale last year. He's not in the Palm Summer League, but is back for the Showdown. Now, if you're wearing headphones, I'm about to go on board with someone. If you're wearing headphones, I'd highly recommend turning them out. I'm turning down my headphones as well, because it gets pretty loud in these cars. I'm going to go up to 55. So yeah, that was loud, but there's speed there, 189 into the turns, as Random's now the fastest on the board, kind of fitting. We were on board with the 55 during that very fast lap. And then down the back, you're going 193, 194. I've seen even sometimes 200, depending on how good of a car you have, 195, 196 there. So even depending on how good of a car you have, there is a potential they can reach 200 down the back straight away. There's another group of cars here going 3 wide. This time that's Miller forcing Abel to the middle. Abel comes down in front of 22. Or Bradley Ream stays on the outside. Again, if I do apologize, I kind of do apologize. Kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Taking a bit to remember these names because it's kind of shifting from one series. I pretty much memorize every name in the PSL, but this being a one-off race, I have to memorize these names for this one-off race. Okay, it's not that loud. Good. But for me, it is pretty loud, but I did turn down the OBS volume because I knew these were very loud cars when I was testing and recording and everything. Now, of course, this will be the final thing we do here today in Firecracker Week. Tomorrow we're going to have another sort of break week for these drivers. Tomorrow, not break week. Tomorrow we're going to have another break day for these drivers. But on Friday, we're going to go racing again. This time around, it'll be, of course, for the duels, for both duel number 1 and duel number 2. Just to reiterate, if you came this race inside the top, if you came this race in the oppositions in PSL points, you're going to be in duel 1, while the even number drivers will be in duel number 2. And while this race, the Coke Zero Showdown, will be on Sunday night after the Chicago Street Course. I'm going to delay that start time again just because that race may be a clown show, we'll see, but it will be after the Chicago Street race. Well, Tuesday will be the Firecracker 400 for the Palm Summer League. So far, it's been kind of a decent mix of manufacturers that are the fastest. We got a Toyota on top of the board, followed by Ford, Chevy, Ford, another Chevy, a Toyota, another Chevy, another Ford, a Toyota, and another Toyota. Now, the only manufacturer that hasn't really been... Now, the only manufacturer I haven't really seen too much of so far is Dodge. But to be fair, Dodge only has 3 entries in this entire race. And all of those are Penske drivers. So, Dodge drivers definitely gotta... So Dodge drivers definitely gotta find some friends to work out with here. And this practice session is a great way to find some friends to work with for the race on Sunday night. Anyways, less than 14 minutes remaining here in the Coke Zero Showdown practice. Currently the slowest is the 91 of Carruthers. While Random J is still the fastest on the board. You know, here's Horndal looking to the inside of Matthews into turn number 3. If I can manage this right. And also, the funny thing is, even though it's not as wild, I know it's not, I don't know if y'all, yeah, you're not saying it's not as wild as what I thought it would be on the stream. It's still, again, it's still a rather loud sound pack for me since we're in headphones right now. And mind you, this is a quieter AI engines edition of the sound pack. This is the quieter version. It's still kind of loud. But enough of talking about how loud the sound pack is. Kellen PC Baker coming down pit road. Wilson. Oh! That's the 24 of Richardson going for a spin. Oh my goodness. Stapleton, the 97, also had to go to the grass as well, and there might be damage on that 24. Oh my goodness. What in the world happened there? We'll look at the replay real quick. What in the world? So, Richardson was slow, comes up on Wilson, sends the 24 spinning with Stapleton barely avoiding, as well as the 55 of Random J. That could have been a disaster for all those drivers there. Richardson has heavy left side damage to that car. I'm not sure if they're going to go to a backup or not. Wow, that is wild. Oh my goodness. Take a look at this from the helicopter angle. Wow, that is wild. I don't think we've ever had chaotic sessions usually. But today is the exception. So here we go. So going to the tribal here, Richardson's obviously a lot slower than Ryan. In fact, Richardson is currently the solo driver on the board. As here comes Ryan Wilson, who's the second driver currently on the board, fastest on the board. As the 24 comes up on the 43, sending both those drivers into the wall and the 24 spinning. And there you see here, and then behind the 24, you see Stapleton and Random quickly going to the apron to avoid alongside Burnett. As here comes Nathan Orman, almost nowhere to go, hits the back bumper of the 24. He's released. I'm not sure if these drivers can go, or we're going to see if these drivers go to backup cars or not, but Wow, that is crazy. That is wild. So we're gonna on board. So let's go on board with Stapleton. Well, not Stapleton, Orphan, I should say. So you just barely got him. You just barely got him. Doesn't look like there's too much damage on the 32, but the 24 definitely got the worst of that. Speaking of which, let's go on board the 24. Yeah, Keyshawn definitely came up on Wilson. I don't know if Richardson was trying to come down pit road, he had some sort of issue, but wild stuff here in Coke Zero Showdown practice. Well, again, we're going to see if these drivers go to backup. Richardson's damage isn't that bad, all things considered. It isn't that bad, all things considered. So we're going to, and they do have time to repair this car, so we'll see if he goes to a backup or not. But for guys like Random J and Stapleton, those two drivers are, of course, some of the fastest drivers on the board as well, alongside Wilson. Definitely a huge break for those drivers because they could have got absolutely, their cars could have got absolutely destroyed by the 24 there because they're going full speed. They didn't really realize he was slowing down. Oh, Ryan Wilson also has damage there. See the right side damage to his car as well again. So potentially 3 drivers may go to backup cars here in the Coke Zero Showdown. But we're going to see, though. These guys can always repair. You guys do have time to repair. So we're going to see if they go to backup cars or not. But we shall see. So you see Wilson's already repairing that car, so I'm not sure what. Yeah, so yeah, Wilson. No, it's not the backup. No, it's not the back. Well, I know it repairs the car itself, but we'll just pretend here. So it sounds like Wilson may trying to repair this car for the main race, so he won't have to go to a backup. Richardson also seems to have his car mostly repaired. Nathan Orman didn't have too much damage on his car, so I think he should be okay. But last time by, he was there was definitely some damage to that car because yeah, look at his time right now. Currently in the 53-second percentile, is by far the slowest car right now on track. So, anyways, looking through the rest of the field as we have less than 11 minutes remaining. This is the only pack so far. Yeah, this basically this is the only pack. These drivers here. You see Richie coming back onto the track with his repair 24. I wonder if Warmer's going to come down as well shortly because that car is still very slow on track. Yeah, I feel like with that wreck, these drivers are going to be a bit more cautious and wary about working with each other during this practice session. But generally speaking, wrecks during practice or testing session, whatever the case may be, are kind of rare. You don't really see them that often, especially here in the Random J channel. As most of these drivers play it clean when it comes to not wrecking, but this is the case here tonight. Meanwhile, Random J and Wilson are back onto the track as they both went down pit road. Those are the 2 fastest cars as of right now. Of course, Wilson had to do some repairs to his car, but he's not going to a backup. So, and it sounds like we're getting reports that none of the drivers that were involved, like Richardson and Stapleton, are going to backup to just repair their standard car kind of quickly. So, incredible job by the repair crews for doing that. And you see, there's Orman there. Why do I keep saying Stapleton? I meant to say Orman. Orman's not going to a backup car. Neither. Just going to get his car repaired. And like I said, that 32 doesn't have too much damage. They can easily repair that. Burnett also back on track, followed by the 48, the 16, and the 78. as this top three remains about the same with the 55, 43, and 42, the fastest three drivers. Meanwhile, Kellen Baker is also now inside this picture as well, as you have less than 9 minutes remaining. Baker is currently 4th fastest on the board, and Camping World Ford. Odom currently 5th fastest. Ross McTrain 6th fastest. Aaron Abel 7th fastest. Matt Teal 8th fastest. Horn Dog back into the top 10 by for the highest dodge on the board. Currently 9th fastest, while Matthews is the 10th fastest in 49. And as you can see, the vast majority of these drivers are down pit road. So actually, some of the like I see Hodem now coming out pit road, or Aaron Abel, who was inside the top 10 on the board, while Albert and Whoopsie aren't inside the top 10 on the board. They all were down pit road. I guess trying to make some sort of adjustment to these cars, as they have less than 8 minutes remaining. And the thing that's definitely more crucial about this race, compared to the Firecracker, is the fact that this is the only time these drivers will be out on track until Sunday. So you better like what you got right now with this car, or else you're not going to like your car on Sunday. Because we're not going to live stream qualifying for this race. And there's not going to be any duels for this race either. See Orman coming back on track, as this top 3 continues to remain the same, and virtually this entire top 10 here on this, when it comes to speeds, is remaining about the same. As we don't really see any packs, as I feel like everyone was kind of shy about forming a pack of what happened after what happened in 24. We're on board with Rice. So let's try looking to the inside of Stapleton into turn number 1, as Hold'em does a great run on the inside, leaving Orman out to dry on the outside and probably tucking right behind the 24. Now, of course, ironically enough, that was the number Orman won this race with last year, and we're gonna. So it's gonna be interesting to see if the defending race winner can win this race once again, or if the defending race team can win this race again. Obviously, I do want to thank everyone for not only tuning into the stream, but also signing up for Coke Zero Showdown. I wanted to get more people in this year, and we've definitely succeeded on that goal. I still wanted to fill up. I kind of wish we would have filled up all 42 cars, but hey, 37 cars is still a great number for a race like this. And it's interesting to note that there's many notable numbers that weren't taken for this race. The 18 car was not taken, nor the 50, the 6, or the 7. So there will be some notable teams and drivers that will not be racing on Sunday night. You see Stout coming back down pit road on the UPS board. Here we got another group here of drivers that are all single file. This is 15 Skylar Taylor. And as these guys start to form a mini pack, there is this probably the biggest pack we've seen over the last 5 minutes or so here, with the 38 of Miles currently the lead car. Ryan Wilson also in this mix. Ryan Wilson also in this mix, followed by the 91 of Carruthers, Burnett, Crown, and Rose. Meanwhile, as for the top 10 in speeds, as we're 3 wide off of turn number 4, the top 5 or so has remained about the top 4 or so has remained about the same, but the 52 I keep forgetting the names. Heritage Alonso is inside the top 5, followed by with Hoodlum moving down to 6, McTrain to 7th, Aaron Abel in 8th, the 22 now Miller in 9th, while Matt Teal runs off the rest of the top 10. And again, initiative of variety manufacturers, all 4 manufacturers are on there, and which may not sound surprising if you look at the previous Firecracker practice, but as previously mentioned, there's only 3 Dodges in this entire field, so the Dodges, again, definitely got to make, this is probably the perfect time for those Penske drivers, those Dodge drivers, to make some friends outside the organization and manufacturer to find someone to work with on Sunday nights. Down pit road is the 78 of Price with Miles and Clifton coming out. With Clifton coming out of pit road, or Alonso's also down the pits as well. Matteo also down the. Matteo also in here alongside the 20 car. Less than 2 minutes remaining in practice, as some of these guys are now getting back in groups as sort of final ditch effort to get a time inside the top 10. As Stapleton, as Orman comes down pit road. As here's a group of, well, here's 2 Toyotas in front of a Chevy and Ford. That's Random and Haas side by side. Off of turn number 2, while Angel and Mullen are side by side behind those 2. Now, even though the MWR cars, I feel like, now, of course, Random is a part of MWR, as still the fastest on the board, as with less than 1 minute remaining. His other MWR teammates aren't really performing up to standards. I mean, Skylar Taylor's in 16th, which isn't terrible, but not as good as obviously as the 55. While Brad Ream is also, they're not doing too bad. But it's interesting to see that Random is the only MWR driver inside this top 10. Oh, his other teammates are below the top 10, but are still inside the top 15. Approximately less than 30 seconds remaining here at Daytona for our final practice session of the day here in the Coke Zero Showdown. You see Richardson going 3 wide there for coming up in front of the 23. As everyone's starting to settle down a little bit, as of less than 5 seconds remaining now. So practice is officially over, and Random J in the 55 from Michael Waltrip Racing, the fastest here in Coke Zero practice. Good effort for that team here today. Random has had decent luck in the showdown before, but as you always say, third time is the charm, and so far that 55 team is looking pretty fast. So 55 car is looking pretty fast here in the World Center of Racing. So Random ran 26 laps in the 55, which was more than Trey Smith, and the Firecracker practice ran 25 laps. So definitely impressive there for the 55. Let's quickly go over the results, and we'll wrap up both practice sessions here today. I'm going to get back to making these races. The 55 are Random J fastest, followed by Ryan Wilson, Nathan Stapleton, Kellen Baker, and Harry Gerald Alonso running up the rest of the top 5. Keyshawn Richardson, despite being involved in that wreck, is 6th fastest, followed by his teammate of Hoodlum, the 23 of Ross McTrain, Aaron Abel in the 27, and the 22 of Patrick Miller rounds off the rest of the top 10. And for the record, too, any of those drivers that were involved, truth be told, any of those drivers that were involved in that wreck, we're not going to backups, or and thus will not start towards the rear of the field. For the real reason why is because I've already recorded the race and recorded the race. I already know who won, and everything like that. I'm not going to redo all of that just because 2 cars were wrecked. So if you were involved in that wreck or got some sort of damage, don't worry. You're not going to the back. You're not going to start to the rear. I can't talk today apparently, but you're not going to go to the rear if you're involved in that wreck. So if one of those drivers were involved, don't worry. Anyways, as for everybody else in the field, you see Matt Cielo in 11th, Horndog in 12th, Matthews 13th, Haas 14th, Ream 15th, Taylor 16th, Orman 17th, the 33 of Crown 18th, Torres 19th, and Albert running off the rest of the top 20. Lipsy in 21st, Burnett in 22nd, Hernandez 23rd, Beal 24th, Hill 25th, Carruthers 26th, Trey Smith, who was of course the fastest during firecracker practice, in 27th, Miles 28th, Rose 29th, and Voiles currently will round up the rest of the top 30. And as for the final 7 drivers, Sustride 31st, Angel 22nd, Rice 33rd, Stout 34th, Mullen 35th. So the front row drivers haven't really found too much speed thus far. Nor the Haas was in the top 15, right? Yeah, Haas was in the top 15. It's just the 20 that was slowest out of the 2 Gibbs guys. But anyways, as for the final 2 drivers, Noah Clifton, definitely kind of a Jekyll and Hyde seemingly so far for Richard Petty. One of their cars was the second fastest, while their other car was the second to last fastest, and that being Noah Clifton in 36, while the 29 of Nixon's the slowest car out of them all for 46.925 in 30, which is the 37th fastest, but still faster than the fastest PSL time. In fact, all these times are faster than PSL times, and all these times are within 46 seconds or so, roughly 46 seconds. So it's not, even though obviously the 55 is nearly 8 tenths quicker than the 29, it's honestly not that big of a difference. So I really feel like this is still anybody's race to win on Sunday night. But of course, you gotta watch to find out who's going to win on Sunday night here in the Coke Zero Showdown. But before then, just a quick reminder of the Firecracker schedule. Friday would be the WeatherTech Duels for the Palm Summer League. Those are points races. The top 2 finishers of each race will get points, while also the drivers who also win the most laps as well also get bonus points for that race. That'll be on Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Coke Zero Showdown, which is the main race, of course, for this, will be on Sunday night after the Chicago Street Race. I might have that start time currently set at 8:30. I might move it a little bit up just because I don't know what's going to happen at Chicago. Who knows what's going to happen in that race. But it will still be on Sunday night regardless, barring any delays, of course. And finally, of course, the main event will be on Tuesday night on the 4th of July. It's the summer's biggest race, the Firecracker 400. And as previously mentioned, also during our last stream, results will be posted for both this session and the Firecracker practice session shortly after the stream ends. I gotta make sure. I just gotta import it over to Google and make sure everything's all good. But with that out of the way, thank you guys for watching this practice session. I hope you guys found this entertaining. But yeah, I hope you guys found this entertaining. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. But again, thank you all for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. And I'll see you guys on Friday for the duels.